Okay, then file save. So now we should have consistent navigation on all 3 pages. Let's go back and change the title text on your, I would say capital Leland's, capital music, capital M for music. We're going to be really nitpicky here. We want consistency, logic. We want to make your website look as professional as possible. Okay. And then let's open up the hobbies page. And let's change the title so that it says Leland's Hobbies.
Right.
Okay. Just on quick inspection here, Leland, your text, your code looks well organized and well commented. And the indentation is a little bit off in some places, but it's not too bad. Brent, please chime in if you see something obvious here that needs to be changed. Okay. All right, let's see how the whole site works now. Go to index, let's launch index. You should have, every page should be linked. You're just going to need to fill in the images. Okay. Refresh this. Whoop, why do we have 2 music still?
I deleted it from the index.
You might not have deleted it on the index page.
Sure, it's that one. It's the one that's saved. Okay, there we go. It just wasn't saved yet.
Okay, good. So you don't need to make these changes now. But let's just comment. I think you know how to make the changes. I would capital Leland's website here. Don't do it now. We'll just critique it. And then let's click on hobbies and see if we go to your hobbies page. Leland's Hobbies. Okay, good. You know what to do here, right? You got to get images, put them in the images folder, and then you got to. I see you've already done the text here. Okay, and then music. You have to do the same thing.
Oh.
Whoops, what happened to music? lelandmusic.html. Let's look at that file name. I think your code is right. It's the file name that.
Yeah, it's
File. Let's look in your directory. What do we have?
That's why. It's not
Very good. Okay. Very good, Leland. Good troubleshooting.
I renamed the
Hi,
file.
Jose. Welcome. Hi, Daniel. We're just finishing up critiquing Leland's site, and then we'll start in a few seconds, guys.
You gotta file save as.html, because I think if you just rename the file, it's just gonna change the name of the file, but not the extension.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you. Good catch, Brent. Okay, Leland, I think you know what to do, all right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, we have pretty much everyone on the crew here. I guess we're missing Bernardo, but other than that, and Finn. Brent, if you could record this, we'll pass the recording around to those who have missed the meeting.
I already am.
Oh, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, guys, the mission today is we're going to pass the ball around to everyone and critique your website much like they would do in a design review in an engineering company, or much like you would critique an architect's design. These critique sessions can be really, really useful learning experiences, not only for the person whose project is being critiqued, but even for the people who are making their critiques. So design reviews and critiques are really, really important part of the building process of getting a successful solution. And we're going to organize our critiques in the following way. First of all, we're going to ask, what do we like about the site? And then we're going to ask, what could be better? And we're going to critique the site, everyone's site, with respect to 3 attributes. The first attribute is going to be your file naming conventions, your file structure. The second attribute of your website is going to be the code. Is it well documented? Is it well indented? Does it work? And then the third attribute that we're going to critique, what do we like and what could be better, is your design. Is the site readable? Does it focus on the message you want to deliver? Is your site, are the pages consistent? Do they look well together? So we're gonna critique your websites from those 3 parameters: what's good and what can be better. Does that make sense, guys? Any questions? Okay. So
one thing I can just say to emphasize that point, John, I'm sorry to just might sound a little redundant, but in life in general, not just in regards to design, I appreciate when people say, well, that looks great, or you did that well. I love that because that gives me self-confidence, but I hate it at the same time. If all you say is I did it well and that it's good, how can I become better? It gives me nothing to actually go off of to improve myself. So critiquing, the more people have to say negative about what I do, the happier I am because it gives me more to make better. And that might sound weird, especially at you guys' age, but I appreciate criticism in all my design.
Thank you, Brent. Thanks for chiming in. You're right. We can learn about when people like your site. That's nice to hear, and it's useful to know when something is successful. But it's even more useful, as Brent suggests, to hear what people think can be better. When you're introducing a product to market, it's really important to listen to your customers, especially their complaints about what they don't like. So let's be prepared to give constructive criticism. I like it or I don't like it is not sufficient. You have to say, I like it because, or it could be better in this if you did this. Okay? Being the critiquer, the person who makes the critiques, is just as important in this process as collecting everyone's feedback. Okay. Oh, I see Claudia just joined. Well, her microphone isn't on yet. As soon as Claudia's microphone gets on, we'll maybe we'll ask someone to explain to Claudia what our mission is today. Lula, do you have anything to add to the importance, the value of critique sessions? Feel free to chime in. Daniel, you might like to...
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Yes, thank you. And it's a very good exercise for them because sometimes at certain age we think that critique will always be like not to be constructive, but it's really, really good to construct with the critique. So it's important everybody participates and shares their ideas regarding other people's jobs and other people's points of view because we learn from them.
Great, thank you, Lula. Hi, Claudia. Let me say hello to Claudia, guys. Welcome. Let's see, Claudia, I'm going to turn your microphone off. When you want to speak in the future or you have questions, just click your microphone button. Great.
Okay.
Hi, welcome. I think you may all remember Claudia from last week. She's a student at Cornell, and she's from Africa. Great. Okay. So for the benefit of Claudia, would someone like to explain what the critique session is all about? It's good good for you to practice explaining.
I would like to.
Okay, go ahead. Great, Leland.
It is to show like what is good about your website, what people like, and then it also to show what people don't like and what could be better. So, like if colors don't go well together, then you have somebody that tells you that, and then you fix it, and then it looks a whole lot better, and it looks more formal and more business-like.
Fantastic. Perfect. Well put, Leland. Thank you. Okay. Hi, Bernardo. Welcome. So I'm inclined, unless you want to volunteer, I'm inclined to just pass the ball according to the order in the participants. So Andrea, Bernardo, then Gabrielle, Jose, and Leland, we've already worked a little bit with you. So we have about 50 minutes here. What if we try to keep everyone to about 10 minutes of critique? That'll give everyone a chance to show their website. So shall we just pass the ball right down the line? Andrea, can we pass the ball to you? I would start when you're presenting your website, guys, by showing it to us in your browser and explain who's your target audience and what do you want your target audience to do? What action do you want your audience to take when they see your website? That's an important place to start when you're presenting a project. What's the problem and what's the mission? Okay, Andrea, you're up. Oh, Andrea.
Well,
Hi, Andrea. Welcome.
thank you. Well, I still have some trouble. I don't know why, but it didn't save the pages that I had already done.
Oh.
So, well, yes, it's just that my computer is getting, I don't know why, slower every time. So,
okay.
Well, this is what I've done. So I already had all the text and the photos here, but it got erased. So
you lost the files.
yes.
Would you like us to try to help you find those files?
Oh no, it's just that it wasn't that I was working on them and it shut down everything.
Oh, so, I see. Without saving them.
Yes.
Got it.
That's
Okay.
So well,
is there anything you can show us, or did you lose everything?
Yeah, almost everything. I had got like this. This was what I got last week, and I had already worked on it. But yes, it's still. I don't know
Andrea,
how.
I'm sorry. Hey, Andrea, I sympathize with you. We lose valuable content all the time, and it's really painful. We lose work, and if we don't back it up every 15 minutes or so, it's really painful to recover. Well, let us know, Andrea. Would you like us to critique what you did, what the state of your website as of last week? Would that be constructive, or shall we just pass the ball to Bernardo?
No, I think that some criticism will be okay. So.
Okay, great. So share your screen. At the top, it's share my screen. You have the ball.
Okay.
Danielle, you have a lot of experience at critiquing with When You last summer, so please offer your suggestions with respect to those three attributes: file structure and file naming conventions, the code, readability of the code, and the user interface.
Okay.
Overall design.
Great.
Okay, Claudia, it's taking a little time to refresh here. Andrea, I'm sorry, we're not seeing your screen right now.
Yeah, it's just that it yes, it's very slow, so I can't see there anything.
Okay. How about this, Andrea? Let's pass the ball to Bernardo, and we'll come back to you if we have time, or we might try to set up a separate session,
Sure.
another webcast where we can just Brent and I will work with you to try to get you back to where you were before you lost your work.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, Bernardo, you have the ball. Great. What's this a picture of, your screen? Okay, let's just have an overall look at your website first, Bernardo, from the browser. This is your home page. How interesting. Oh, Bernardo, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you fine. Great. Okay,
Okay.
great. Wow, look at this. Yo. Very interesting. Okay.
I still have to. I haven't written the bio, and I will put some more things, but right now I have just this.
Okay. Very
Well,
interesting.
this is my.
Homepage. Okay. So this is your index page, your home page, and you don't have your other pages set up yet?
No, I just have the. Where is it? I have this one.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's look first at your file structure. Let's just look at your folder before we see that. We see the 2 pages now. Okay, index.html. Okay, that's fine. Index.html, and then I would be inclined to say Bernardo bio instead of bio-Bernardo. That may seem like a small change, but the logic behind that is this. When you have other pages, you want them to sort naturally, and when you have your website maybe mixed in with other people's websites, you want your name to come first because the files will sort in a hierarchical fashion. So all Leland's pages will come in one group. All Bernardo's pages will come in another group. Does that make sense? When you name your files, try to name them in a hierarchical order so that you start with the broadest category, and then you gradually filter your file name down to the more specific categories. So we have the general category of this is Bernardo's website, and then within the website, we have Bernardo's bio, Bernardo's hobbies, Bernardo's sports, yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's look at your images folder. Is that a capital I or a small I for images?
Small.
Small
Yes.
I, okay, good. Can't see it, good. Want to be sure we don't have any caps here. So your file names for these images are dangerous because who in the world knows what 0290 is unless you have the icon displayed. And very often you'll see file names, especially in your code, without the benefit of seeing the icons. So it would be good to name 123 something like chip, and 0290 something like archery. Does that make sense?
Yes. I was going to change it.
Okay, good. So keep in mind, Bernardo, we're being really, really strict here, right? We want your website to be scalable and to be professional from the bottom up, from the top to the bottom. Okay, so we'll just make the critiques now. You can change these. You can change these as you go along. We don't want to break your links, but you can make notes of what you want to do, right? Same with Avatar. I'd put your name first, Bernardo Avatar, so that you can distinguish your avatar from Andrea's avatar, for example, or Leland's avatar. Okay, but don't. I wouldn't change the names right now because we might break the links. Let's look at your code. Let's look at the code for the home page first, the simpler one. This is pretty much right from the template, so there shouldn't be too much to change here, but I think when Brent and I set up the template, some of the template is not really well formatted. Okay, let's scroll all the way to the top. Header, okay. Guys, for your reference, anyone want to explain what the header, what those header tags do? Can anyone share why that what's useful about that information in the header? We haven't talked too much about this. Brent, can you make a explanation of all the information that typically goes between the header tags?
Yes, in the header tag, it's useful for a lot of things. Primarily, the first thing I think of is like page name, the tab of the page. So like at the top where you see, if you were on Chrome, for instance, you see like those tab, like folder tab things. The name of the site's there. Keywords, description, everything that Google is going to look for. So the way it's going to be displayed on a search engine is defined in the meta tag for the most part. Secondly, a lot of the times that's where you include a lot of the JavaScript and style information once we get into that. And also like the icon you see on a website. So like at the top of the page where you see, you're on eBay, but then you see an eBay icon, or Cartoon Network, you see the CN icon. You can define the icon that represents your site and what's used when you save it as a shortcut and stuff like that as well. Is that fair enough, John, or any more
Perfect.
detail?
That's perfect, Brent.
Okay.
Thank you. Much better explanation than I would have given.
Thanks.
Okay, fantastic. Daniel, you want to comment on the indentation here? Do you see anything that could be improved on the indentation?
Well, I see is a little bit of space that it's been not used.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of body, the background color,
Yeah.
that tag and the comment that says the title section starts here. All that space that you're not using right now looks like nothing, but when you have a really big website, it makes your website really big and difficult to navigate.
You have a lot of scrolling, more scrolling to do.
Yeah.
You don't get to read. It's a bigger picture to read. So you want to try to compress your code, but not so much to the point where it's not readable. Don't put wasted spaces there, but don't compact it so much that you can't read it. Okay. Wow, this looks pretty well indented to me. I might indent the comment with respect to the other comment. I don't know. The indentation of the comment is not a big factor, but I try to keep the comments. You might not indent the comments at all, or you might indent them. I don't know. What's your preference, Brent and Daniel, for indentation of comments?
Well, for me, I leave comments with a difference of one space from one tag to the other, so that you can see the comment, easier.
Okay. Yep. You want to be able to pick out those comments at a quick glance. That's a great point. So maybe if you put your comments left, justify them more, you can pick them out, or you can put them right there. That's perfect.
Yeah. When I do comments, I pretty much do what you just suggested. So like, if I have a comment that defines a major section of the site, I usually have them right to the edge, the left edge, so I can pick them up immediately. if it's small comments about that section, I try and match it with the parent element, and I nest them inside the overall section. So like if there's a div that's the main wrapper, or the div for the header, the div for the footer, those comments I have all the way to the left. Now, if inside the footer I have social media icons, that one's not so important. It's relevant to the footer. So if you're not looking for the footer, you don't really care about that comment. I indent those, line up with the footer tag. If that makes sense. I'm not sure if that's the proper way, but that's just kind of how I find them easy.
Yeah, perfect. Just one comment about nitpicking this code so strictly. I think very often you'll find when you're applying for a job at an engineering company that the person who is evaluating your work is more interested in the comments we're making now. How are your files named? How is your code structured? Than they are in how the product actually works. So very often you can tell how professional someone is, how well they're going to be able to work on a team, and how organized they are by this low level, by your low level work as opposed to your design work. I mean, both are important, but if someone names their files in really ugly ways, that's a sign that they're not going to work well on a team or they're not well organized. So you can tell a lot about a person's abilities by their attention to details like this. Okay, very good. Let's give Bernardo some critiques on his design now. File structure first, code second, and then overall design. So let's have a look at your browser windows, your index page, and your hobbies page. Okay. Leland, do you want to make a comment about this? The same comment we made about your page?
Yeah. The box on the outside, that you could take that out and it'd make it a lot less defined where the box of the GIF and the box of the website are.
And how do you do that, Leland?
You go border and 0.
To the image tag, go to your image. There, you got it. You got it. Perfect. Okay, Bernardo, well done. You agree that that looks better? Okay, guys, any comments about the color? The avatar is very cool. I love this avatar. Any comments about color? Is everything readable here?
Maybe changing the font to make it like more attractive.
Okay. The font could be bigger and you could experiment with different fonts. Very good. I like the gray background here because it complements the avatar so well. But the red title is very, very difficult to read. And you might be able to read that, as Andrea suggests, by changing the font, certainly by changing the color, and by increasing the size. So
always switch it to blue so it fits in with the tags that he has below it.
Yep. You can make it some shade. Sometimes people think of all blue text should be just links, so you might make it purple or some very slight variation of blue color. If you make it blue, people might think it's a link. That's the only problem. You could try purple there, but either one, blue. And then I'd make the font face size 6. Font face size, and then you can experiment with generally Times New Roman, especially when you have small fonts, is a little difficult to read. So you could put Arial there, or you could put a fancy font. later on.
No, I don't remember the name.
Arial, just try
No.
Arial. Arial. Yeah,
Just
that's more readable. Would you not agree? Okay. Okay. Let's. Does your page 2 link work? Or you want to change page 2 to? Does the navigation work?
yes. Just that. As I changed the name, so.
Yep. Okay. So let's just go to your second page. There's, I guess you missed the class on navigation, I gather.
Oh, ready.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, first of all, let's have a look at the code here. Okay, whoa. Brent, can you take the lead here? There's quite a few things we need to change here on this code.
Yes, so basically, every time a tag begins and ends, it's best to think that that tag could be on its own line. John, would you mind if I took the ball for a second just to explain the theory a little bit for like a minute and then pass the ball back and guide him through it?
Sure. Here you go. Okay, Brent. I think what Brent's going to get to, Bernardo, is when you open a tag, you have to close it.
And that could be its own indent, its own line.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly, John. So just so that way, rather than guiding you through without you seeing the why we're doing it, I think if you know why we're doing it, it'll be a lot easier to mimic the end result. Okay. Is that notepad? Okay. So basically, whenever I open a tag, and whenever I close a tag, I'm just going to kind of make the quick regular structure. So I have my HTML tag, then I can do head / head. So like if I put in all the tags blank before I insert any content, I think that will help show that. Body. I'm not sure, John. What's your recommendation on these tags though? Should these ones be over to the left since HTML is the only?
I didn't indent them.
Like that? Okay.
I think that's the proper way to do it.
I thought so as well. I just want to make sure. Alright, so right now you see that whenever I open a tag, I close the tag on the same exact line. Let me make the font bigger here. Probably good. Alright, so if I do a little screen clip in there just so I can annotate, pretty much you want these to be the same line, these to be the same line, and these to be the same line. Now as I add in content, I want to indent, let's say I want to put a div, or we haven't really gotten into divs, let's just do a key tag. Table.
Let's do the table, Brent, because, yep.
Okay. And if you do it where you close the tag first, it will kind of show you. Inside of this one, I want to indent for the table row. The closed table row should be on its own line and should be lined up with the TR. And if I put
Brent uses spaces, not tabs. It's a good practice when you're coding to use spaces and not tabs. The problem is that some text editors define tabs in different ways. So if you use spaces to do all of your indentation, that's the surest way to make sure it will look the same on any text editor. Perfect, Brent. This perfect way of showing the logic behind indentation.
And if I paste another row, you see it kind of goes in and out. but you can follow it. And now let me add in some content too. I just copied and pasted an additional row.
Is this making sense, Bernardo?
And also, if you wanted to give this a title, for instance, if I do an h1 tag, you want to close the h1 tag and make sure it's nested inside the td tag. And then inside of it is where you would put, that doesn't spell title, there we go, title text. Now let me screen capture that again. I could do better than that. There we go. So now we have these touch. These are on the same line, I mean. Body goes all the way down to there. Our table has a lot of stuff inside of it, but you can follow it very easy. See the table rows? Table data, cell, I like to define that as a column in my head. It helps me visualize, but it's technically data. And there's your content inside of this tag. These are all basically the child elements inside the parent element, almost like those what's that Russian like egg doll thing called? John, you might know the name of that.
I know what you're saying, but I don't know how they're called.
Russian nesting doll.
Nesting doll, very good, Leland.
And then yeah, thanks, Leland. So yeah, that's a good visualization. Actually, let's Google that just for the sake of it's a great, almost perfect, I guess, analogy to this. Russian.
Okay. Thank you, Brent. Bernardo, it's cool that your website works, but the problem, if you don't do some of these things, it might not work on all browsers or on all platforms. So it might work on your computer, but it may not work on your cell phone. So unless you write proper code, that's the only way you can ensure that your website will work on all platforms. Okay, let's do one more quick critique so we get the ball around to everyone, Brent. On the design of your second page, Bernardo. Let's have a quick look. Can you share your screen again, Bernardo?
On the second page, it was one thing I really liked that you did, that I was waiting to say that I found interesting compared to a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
The images I used almost like icons, reminds me of a phone almost. Those could easily be made links to the actual websites for Arduino or any of those. Or you could even use them as links. Like let's say you have a Scratch, profile. You have a Scratch cat, and that links to your profile. So rather than describing that as text, you did it a very visual way. And if you look at a lot of websites, like Apple has a lot of images because they sell product. Instagram has just an image stream, basically. No text really, besides hashtags and a small caption. So I think going with a visual approach was a cool way of doing that.
Very cool. Good comment, Brent. Anyone else have comments? What do they like about this design?
I would balance the size, though. Those icons are all different sizes, and they don't really touch in any sort of way that forms a pattern. And I think if they were the same width or the same height, you could play around with that. It doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. Sometimes asymmetry is cool, but I think it's a cool approach. I just think it could be tweaked slightly and made a little bit more even, possibly. I think that's...
Put those icons in a table.
Yeah.
So they line up right. Mm-hmm.
Table in the table.
Yeah, you can size them in your code. You don't need to go all the way back to the icon and size them. You can just size them in your code.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have comments about what they like about this and what could be better? Anyone? Okay, I'll make a couple of comments. The lines that border your table, or I'm not sure how you put those lines in there. They're probably part of your table. You need to define some space between the lines and the icons. So there's table border tags that you can add to make sure that your text or your images doesn't line up flush with the lines. I really love your background, the background image you put. I think it makes your website different than anyone else's, and it sort of makes your background sort of invites people to come in. I'd be inclined to use this same background on your homepage. Okay, Bernardo, I hope those are a few things you can work on during the week. In the interest of having a look at everyone's site, let's pass the ball. Claudia, did you have a chance to work on your website over the week?
I didn't get much work done. I just have the basics.
Oh, would you like us to have a quick look at it, or would you like to wait till next week?
I think I'll wait. I'm also using a different machine.
Oh, okay, so we really can't see it. Okay. Gabrielle, can we pass the ball to you?
Sure. There's a problem on my website though.
Oh, okay. Would you like us to help you troubleshoot it, or would you like to wait till next week?
Can we troubleshoot it after? A
Okay.
little while after. Okay.
Sure. Jose, you're up next. Jose, when I just pass the ball to you, would you like to share your screen and show us your website?
I'm actually in another computer, so I don't have my...
You don't have it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, have we gone around the horn? Daniel, I don't know if you'd like to show your personal website, but you're welcome to. Otherwise, what we could do is go back to Bernardo and help him clean up some of his code. Or Andrea,
Yeah.
if you're ready to show your website, chime in. Daniel, would you like to, did I hear?
I was going to say that it would be helpful for Bernardo if we could help him a little bit.
Good. Yeah,
Please.
I think we have a fair amount of work to do on Bernardo's code. But Andrea, since you haven't gone yet, would you have anything to show us, or would you like to wait till next week?
I'll wait. I'll try to work in it over the week. So next week I am and have what I lost.
Okay, good. I think we can all learn a lot by critiquing Bernardo's site. So what if we pass the ball back to you, Bernardo? We'll work on your navigation, and we'll work on some of the suggestions that Brent made. Brent, can you and Daniel, can you guys take the lead and help get Bernardo's navigation going, as well as making sure he closes tags and indents properly?
Sure. All right.
Yep.
So, I would say let's start with the format and the code. Would you agree, Daniel?
The formatting?
The indenting and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, let's see. All right. So, basically, whenever you see a line that has more than one tag on it, that's somewhere where you may want to adjust. So, like the H1 at the top, for instance, you have HTML, head, title. If you see more than one tag, that's like a sure sign that that line has to be adjusted. So what that P tag is, you probably want to do a line break, hit enter right before the P tag, and then indent that 2 spaces further than the H1. So yeah, perfect. And then you want to hit enter to bring it down a line. And then you want to make sure that, because that's inside the H1 element, you want that to be indented a few spaces, past, like 2 spaces past the H1. Alright, perfect. And then, so now you have your font one on the next line. Let's see, you did big inside of big. Alright, and John, out of curiosity, just in regards to what one you said, or Daniel, you were there, I think, for that. When we have like a tag like big, and then another big tag nested, should we do the big tag, line break that, I would assume, and then do the big tag, line break the next one, and then indent both of those accordingly? Is that correct?
Well,
Yeah, I'm thinking like that. I'm not sure. I think we might want to do 2 spaces on that second big because it's nested inside the other one. Yes, perfect. And then let's like okay. So that second big, yeah, perfect. That one line up there. And then Bernardo E could be in between the big tag, the big and then close big. So that could be on its own line, the content. And then yeah, 2 in. Alright. And then so that's basically the principles here. Now you see the H1s line up. Oh, and there's no close P tag inside the H1 tag. I think that what we should do is after, and we never close the font either, do we? Does that font tag carry throughout the whole site, or did you just not close it? I don't see a slash font. So yeah, you after the last close big tag, you'd want a slash font. And I see you already put a slash P in there, which is perfect. I'm not sure if the screen like is lagging on my end, so if this sounds redundant, don't mind that I'm saying it as you're already doing it. But right after that last slash big, you want to do a slash font, close the font tag. Yeah, perfect on that line. Alright, and then
do we really need the big tags there, especially the double big? What's your logic, Bernardo, for putting those big tags in? Why not just control the font size with the size spec? Size equals 7. What was your logic, Bernardo, for putting the big tags in there? You already have size at the very end.
Yeah, John, that's a good point. They might not necessarily be needed, or you might be able to just define the size.
Yeah, just define the size. At the very end of your font tag, it says size 7. Just leave it that way and take the big tags out. I don't think you'll need the big tags.
And after you take out the big tags, I also just noticed the font tag inside the where you set the attributes. You don't have quotations around like the color or the size. So there's a way like Comic Sans has quotes around it. I think you need to put quotes around the other 2 as well. And when you're using hexadecimal colors, I think you need a hashtag prior to the
You
at
need
least
a
in
number.
CSS, yeah,
Yeah.
number
You need a number
sound.
sign. And I don't think there's a space between the equals and the. Is there a space between the equals and the quotes?
Yeah, you
Just
don't
to
need
be
that.
consistent and clean. Some browsers are very particular that you write code that validates, and some browsers are very forgiving. If you make a mistake, they'll make certain assumptions. So I would take the spaces out between the equal sign and the quote. Okay, so you can continue to do this on all of your other code. What if in the 5 or so minutes remaining we work on Bernardo's navigation?
Right, that sounds great. And actually, before we do that, I just want to make one quick suggestion to people. Some may have seen it in the chat, like Claudia, but I saw that some of you guys sometimes week to week say that you don't have access to the same machine you did the previous week, and you can't share your site or you can't edit your site while we're in the webcast. To help you guys be a little bit more efficient, I guess more productive on that, and just good practice. If you know you're not going to have access to that computer or there's a potential you won't, you could either use like a thumb drive or SD card, or you could use a cloud storage system like Google Drive or Dropbox. Whenever you finish working on a site, you just upload and overwrite, and then you can just download the site next time you work on it and just constantly download, work on it, save it, then upload it and overwrite the old files. And if you really want to make sure you don't lose any work, you could even upload the files by date and just kind of have like a archive of edits. If you ever need to go back and get something you lost that you thought you didn't want, and then you're like, man, I wish I had that saved. That's just a suggestion that might help you guys.
Good point, Brent. Another thing we can do is next week we'll show you how you can put your websites on the live server so that you can see them from any computer, and then you can use that as your master copy. So Leland, would you like to take to help Bernardo with his navigation? Would you like to explain what Bernardo has to do to make navigation on this page link to his home page?
Yeah. Okay, so.
What if I pass you the ball, Leland, and you just show how your navigation works and explain what you did?
All right.
And then, Bernardo, you have to watch this carefully because this strategy is an efficient way to get navigation that is consistent on all of your web pages.
All right, so I'm on my home now. I can go to my hobbies, and then to my music, then back to my hobbies, then back to home. And then I have it where I have I set it up the navigation, and then I copied that, and I brought it to my music's page, so it'll recognize all the other pages like home, hobbies, and then of course itself, music. And then there's my hobbies page, which has the same thing. And I made sure to note where the end of the navigation was, so it's a lot less confusing from where I have to copy what I don't have to copy. So it says like so since it has navigation up here, it says end navigation down here, so I know to copy from there to there.
Perfect. Can you explain all of the tags inside of your navigation?
Yes. Which tags?
The reference tags in particular, the A tags.
Oh, okay. These right here is to tell where it is going. So this is this will tell me this is telling it to go to index, which is the home page. The file name is index.html, so it will find that and go to there. This one is leland-hobbies.html. It will find that one and go there. And then this one's leland-music.html, and it'll find the HTML file for these and go to them when you click on the link, which is music hobbies, home music hobbies.
Perfect. And what are the vertical lines? Why did we put those in?
Spacers to show where the text is and make it a lot easier to read.
Great, great, perfect. So, Bernardo, you can take a screenshot of what Leland's done here and then replicate this on your website during the week if you have time. Or you can go to the template page and look at the navigation there. The navigation on the template page should be similar to what Leland has here. Okay, so how about this, guys? We'll do one more week on personal websites. I encourage you to start populating your pages with images and text. Much like Leland has done, he's already written the text. Now he just has to find images. Look for photos or symbols of images that really drive home the points you want to make, that make your points memorable, and then make your copy so that if people want to know more, they can, when they read your copy, your text, it will be clear and compelling, the messages you want to deliver, or what you want your audience to do. If it's the case of your friends, you want to share your work or invite them to share things they've done that is similar to what you've done. Or if you're trying to get a job or go into school, you want to impress the admissions director that your work is professional and thoughtful and well organized. So we invite you to finish your personal websites, and we'll do one more round of critique next week. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Okay, guys. Hope to see you next week.
Bye, John.
Bye, Leland. Any final questions? Comments? Suggestions? Okay, guys. Stay out of trouble.
Bye, guys.
Hey, John.